For the first time in what feels like a decade, I can finally say these words once again. It's draft week. What's good, y'all? Welcome back to the Titans Rundown. I am your host, Micah McCamey, and in today's episode, we are going to be over who I think the Tennessee Titans will take in round one and what I think will happen. And we'll also do a little bit of bonus coverage of the second round. Really, if you have seen some of the stuff that I've said on Twitter, you know there's only one option for me, so we'll get to that eventually, but y'all probably know who it is already. But I want to start out by saying this to everybody that has been consistently watching or listening over podcast or anything like that, listening over Thunder Radio or wherever you listen to this show. I just wanted to apologize up front right here, right now, about the fact that I've been very off recently whenever it comes to my content creation. I don't know why, but like just a lot of stuff came at me over this past month, if you will, and I just haven't had the motivation to continue to create content through all of the stuff that's been going on. But I am trying to come back, and I'm letting this be my comeback episode as I am going live on Thursday. I forgot to mention that. So if you want to watch draft coverage with me, then I will be all over social media trying to push and advertise the Titans Rundown stream. Okay. So anyway, all of that out of the way, all the personal stuff out of the way. Again, thank you guys so much for coming back after I've been on this hiatus, if you will. I am going to cover every option that the Titans have in round one. Everyone that I think is at least realistic, if you will. Okay, there's one on here that's probably not realistic, but he does need to be mentioned because he has been in rumors whenever it comes to the Tennessee Titans. So, first one that I want to talk about, okay, it's the obvious red herring, if you will. It's the one that everybody has penciled in like, oh yeah, the Titans are going to take this dude. And that would be Jeremiah Love, running back out of Notre Dame. Okay, here is the thing, right? I love Jeremiah Love. See what I did there? Like, I am very intrigued with him as a draft prospect. I think he's a guy with a good head on his shoulders. He's probably a little socially awkward, but outside of that, I don't know. He just seems like an amazing prospect. Everything that you could want out of an NFL draft prospect. So, my thing is that over the past couple of days, or at least over the past 24 hours as of the time that I'm recording this, there has been a weird thing going around where people are starting to seriously be considerate of the idea that Jeremiah Love goes at 3 or that the Titans don't draft him if he drops to 4 and all of this stuff. Like Pete Schrager recently said, I think the Titans are out. Same thing with Adam Schefter. He may have not said it directly, but he did hint at it. So it's very confusing, if you will. Like, what exactly is the Titans' game plan here? And you want to know the truth? I don't think anybody knows what the Titans' game plan is here. I don't think they know what the Cardinals' game plan is here. Same thing with the Jets. The only team that I think everybody knows the game plan of right now is the Las Vegas Raiders, as it goes during draft night. But personally, I think that everything is kind of penciled in right now. And I mean, I'm just going to spoil this right now. This is my prediction for what's going to happen at 4. I think that the Raiders obviously take Mendoza. I think that the Jets take one of David Bailey or Arvell Reese. Then at 3, the Cardinals are kind of a wild card, but honestly, I wouldn't be shocked if they took the leftover of Bailey or Reese with that 3rd pick, or if they just drafted offensive line, or if they just traded down. That wouldn't shock me either. Honestly, that is the worst case scenario, that the Cardinals trade down with like the Chiefs or the Cowboys and they end up with Jeremiah Love. Like, that is probably the worst case scenario for me. Although I will say whichever one is left over, I would personally trade down with if that situation were to happen, but more on that later. So my personal thing is I really don't buy what the media is trying to sell me about this. First off, the Vegas odds have stayed stable. Everybody is still predicting Jeremiah Love to go to the Titans, or everybody is predicting the top 3 to be the best tackle in the draft. I can't remember his name for the life of me, but y'all know who I'm talking about, to the Cardinals, then Arvell Reese to the Jets, and then at 1, obviously, Fernando Mendoza to the Las Vegas Raiders. That is what I am expecting, if you will. Like, I feel like this is just a smokescreen. This is more of a, nothing's really going on right now because everybody is either one, clueless about what's going on within the front office of the NFL drafting teams, if you will. That was the weirdest way I could have worded that. But, either nobody knows what is going on within a certain office, or there's something else going on, and I'm starting to blank on what I was going to say. Or it's the fact that everybody knows what's going to happen on draft night, especially with those top 5 picks, so people start trying to make stories, take reaches, if you will, trying to tell everybody, hey, this is going to happen. It leads to them getting clicks, even if they're terribly wrong. Why do you think Mel Kiper has been in this business for 30 years? Okay, I love Mel Kiper, but let's be real. There are definitely some things that he predicts for the sake of clicks, if you will. And honestly, I don't think it's fully on him. That's an ESPN problem. Same goes for everybody else, but that's a completely different side tangent that I will not get into right now. So anyway, yeah, Jeremiah Love is the obvious choice at pick number 4. And I think that is what's going to happen, but I will mention these next 3 options so that way we at least have some clarity on what could happen if the Cardinals did, heaven forbid, decide to take Jeremiah Love with that 3rd pick. Also, one more thing about that, though, right before we get into the next option. I don't know why this storyline is coming out with this whole thing where it's like, oh, the Cardinals are going to take Jeremiah Love because they just got like an offensive mind or whatever. So I do want to say something. That offensive mind is Mike LaFleur. Mike LaFleur spent his time under Sean McVay, obviously, in his most recent offensive coordinator gig. I would be shocked if the dude that has been the offensive coordinator for the team that has had a 4th-round running back scorching fire across the entire NFL in Kyren Williams, who they, again, drafted in the 4th round, goes in that direction with Jeremiah Love instead of just thinking, what if I just go get a Mike Washington or Nicholas Singleton in the 4th? I think that is something to consider, that I feel like people are really underestimating the fact that I don't know if Mike LaFleur has the same thought process whenever it comes to the running back position as potentially the Titans do right now. Now, here's the thing, okay? If the Titans do miss out on Jeremiah Love, I'm completely fine with that. You know why? Because these next 3 options, 2 of these next 3 options, I would be head over heels for, okay? The second one, David Bailey, edge rusher out of Texas Tech. This dude is an absolute beast at the pass rush. I know that if y'all watch the college football playoff at all, you know that. You saw that 2nd round where Texas Tech's quarterback just completely destroyed any chance that Texas Tech had in that football game. You saw David Bailey. You saw him be the least swaggy defensive lineman I think I have ever seen. I mean, I think I could have gone out onto that field and had more swag than David Bailey did. And you saw that dude was absolutely scorching earth. He had, I believe, 2 sacks on the day and had a couple of tackles for loss. Like, genuinely had a very solid game of football. Now, obviously, there's the big thing where it's like, can you develop the run defense? Because here's the thing. He's going to be a good pass rusher. Like, at the very least, I see David Bailey ending up being one of those journeymen that gets like 7 sacks a season of some sorts. But it really comes down to either A, his pass rushing has got to be like top 3, if you will, or he's got to develop his run defense. Now, if there is anybody that I expect to develop that, it is a group of Robert Saleh, who is one of the most respected defensive minds in the league, Gus Bradley, who is one of the most respected veterans in the league, even if he is a little bit more conservative than he should be. But honestly, as a non-play calling defensive coordinator, he's great. And also Aaron Whitecotton, who is another really respected defensive line coach in the NFL. So if there's anybody that I would say, yeah, those guys can develop David Bailey's pass rush, it's those run stopping. It's that group of guys, right? Those are the guys that I expect to develop that. And this is something that Saleh would want. I think that he would absolutely love to go edge rusher at this pick and add on to that defensive line and make it absolutely monstrous in the pass rush. I mean, imagine a defensive line of John Franklin Myers, Jeffrey Simmons, Jermaine Johnson, and David Bailey. I mean, like, that would be insane. But here's the thing, right? My thing whenever it comes to David Bailey is that I think that he is the smokescreen for Jeremiah Love. I think that people are like, oh, yeah, everybody was talking about really early on that like the Titans would be really interested in an edge rusher of some sorts. And personally, I think this is a smokescreen about like, you see, they were interested in edge rusher and they don't like Ruben Baines off the field problems. So David Bailey it is, right? Like that is the thought process that I have of looking at this and seeing David Bailey be mocked to the Titans, is that I think that it is trying to be a smokescreen, but that makes sense, if you will, for a lot of people, right? So again, and also, did we just forget about Femi? Like, look, okay, I get it. He's hurt, or he was hurt, and he's been battling back, and he wasn't like that impressive up until the game that he got hurt in, ironically enough, which again was still against one of the worst offensive lines in the NFL. But he was still a second round pick with ridiculous upside. Like, I'm not saying that he had like this incredible like Micah Parsons ceiling or anything, but he definitely had the upside of being like a Harold Landry, if you will. Great pass rusher, great run defender who also has really good pass rushing and can be the cleanup guy, if you will, right? Like that was the upside that he had, in my opinion. And I think that he still does have that upside. So personally, I don't think David Bailey ends up being the pick. I would be excited if he was. If I could see that defensive line together next season, that would be absolutely amazing. But again, I don't see it. Next one that I wanted to mention was Sonny Styles. I'm just going to start out by saying this, and I don't even know if I'll say anything else. No, I just don't think that Sonny Styles is the pick. Like, I get it. Robert Saleh, the linebacker guru, if you will, the guy that goes number 4 overall is a linebacker with ridiculous upside. Maybe he could get the most out of him and all of this stuff. I'm sorry, man. I just don't see Sonny Styles becoming a Tennessee Titan. Why? It's because of the fact that I know Robert Saleh, not personally, but I know Robert Saleh's ideology from what I've seen over the past couple of years. The linebackers that he has had incredible success with have not been top 10 picks. I believe CJ Mosley was a day 2 pick. Tremaine Edmonds was a day 3 pick. All of the linebackers that he has had success with are not like incredibly highly drafted, dropped prospects or Williams. Why can't I remember his first name for the life of me? I don't know. Quinnen Williams' brother. You know who I'm talking about. That, like, those guys were not top 10 picks. They were either late first round or day 2 or day 3 picks. None of them came with this early of a draft pick. And I think Saleh is aware of the fact that he can get more out of a day 4 pick and round 4, a round 4 pick, get him for cheaper than having to waste a big pick on a player that, even though he could develop him and become great, he could very easily just rotate in and out linebackers like it's nothing, right? So I just don't see it with Sonny Styles. There was one that I forgot to mention, Arvell Reese. I think that one is entirely possible. Like, if everything has burned down, as in the Jets decided to go with David Bailey at 2 and the Cardinals went with Jeremiah Love at 3, I 100% believe that Arvell Reese would be the pick in that situation. And honestly, I wouldn't be mad about it. I think he has the most upside out of anybody in this entire draft class. And I think he's a great pass rusher too. So I would be really excited about that. Honestly, it's arguable him or Jeremiah Love. I would be very excited about one of those two, right? So anyway, I don't see Sonny Styles, but I could see his linebacker buddy. All right. The last option that I will mention for the first round, and this is my personal favorite option if you haven't been able to tell already, it's trading down. I love the idea of trading down. It charms me, if you will, because here's the thing. If Jeremiah Love is off the board, I do not think that David Bailey is a good enough player to just pass up on extra draft capital so that way you can go get him. That's just my personal opinion. So I would love to trade down, stock up on some picks, maybe catch a team that's a little desperate to try and get some juice back on their squad, like the Chiefs, who may be really desperate for trying to get somebody either to power that offense or to get some type of like edge rusher or safety, if you will. That is the one scenario. Like, if the Cowboys trade up, I'll be a little concerned, but I will say if the Chiefs trade up, I'm not concerned at all, because I think if they trade up to number 3, they go with Caleb Downs. That's just a personal thing. So again, going back to the subject of the Titans, I would love to trade down because you just load up on picks. And I think that is what this team needs right now. We need draft picks. We need blue chip prospects. You get 2 first-round picks out of one of the Chiefs or the Cowboys, maybe catch them lacking a little bit and go get a first-round pick next year, maybe like a couple of day 2 picks. Obviously, that's probably a bit much. How about this? You can take out the next year's first rounder and just do like a couple of day 2 picks. You go out and you get a receiver with one of those picks, one of like, I don't know, Carnell Tate, or if he's still available at 12 or 9, you go out and get one of Carnell Tate or Jordan Tyson. Denzel Boston may be in play for the first round. Then, like with that later round pick, you go out and get your right guard of the future. That would be really big for us. And then in round 2, you try and go after maybe defensive back or an extra linebacker, a center if you don't have faith in Jackson Slater, right? Like there are so many options whenever you trade down, and you can fix a lot of holes on the roster because I have confidence that Mike Borgonzi is very good at drafting, if you will. I have faith in the idea that he can draft well. That's really about it. I saw his draft class last year. Cam Ward really started to pick it up at the tail end of the year. Femi is the only one that I'm kind of questionable about. Kevin Winston has played really well whenever he's been healthy. I'm just hoping that he can stay that way. Chimere Dike has been an all-pro punt returner. Then also a lot of other things, like Alec Aomanor has a lot of potential to be a really good receiver 3 if he is given that opportunity. Like, I see all of these picks. Marcus Harris, like, are you kidding me? That is an absolute gem in round 6. Heck, I still think that Jackson Slater is going to be really good if he gets the chance to start with Carmen Bricillo, right? So, again, I personally really like trading down because I have faith in Borgonzi as a drafter, but I also have faith in Robert Saleh as a guy who drafts. Whenever he got to New York, they immediately started banging on picks. Like, Joe Douglas was not that great at drafting with Adam Gase, but like right as Saleh got there, outside of the Zach Wilson catastrophe, which he was forced into, I don't know if anybody has seen those reports, but he really was forced into that by Woody Johnson, which is not shocking in the slightest. I mean, maybe you could say Elijah Vera Tucker was a miss, but even then, like, he's still a very talented player. So you give the balance of Robert Saleh really having an eye for upside and Mike Borgonzi trying to find players that can stay healthy. That is a perfect balance right there. And that's why I think trading down is the best option. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. That was corny. I'm sorry. But anyway, going into the second round, there is only one option. And I've already mentioned him in this episode. For me, in the second round, it is Denzel Boston or bust, baby. I love Denzel Boston. This is a dude that I fell in love with the first time that I laid eyes on him as a prospect. He's tall, he's muscular, he's athletic, he's physical, and the Titans are in desperate need for a big body, like desperate need. Like Wan'Dale and Calvin Ridley are great receivers, but they're not going to be those guys that Cam Ward can throw it deep down the field and expect them to come down with the ball. Like maybe they've created enough separation at that point, but the truth is that those guys are going to catch it and they're going to run in space. That is the whole philosophy behind what they do, right? So my thing is, why not go get a big body receiver with that second round pick? I would absolutely love Denzel Boston in the second round. And this is another reason I think trading down would be beneficial. If you feel like that you could go get somebody that's not like, if you feel like that you still need an edge rusher, you can draft one at 12, you go get a right guard at 20, and you go get Denzel Boston. I think that Denzel Boston is being projected for the second round, but I think that he has first round upside. Like, I genuinely believe that. And honestly, I think that he has the highest ceiling in this draft at wide receiver. Yeah, I said it. I think that he has higher upside than Jordan Tyson. I think he definitely has more upside than Carnell Tate. And I think he has more upside than Chris Brazzell, which hurts me to say as a never dying Tennessee Volunteers fan. But I just think that that's the truth. Look, I want Denzel Boston badly. I don't know why, and I don't know how this feeling got into me, but I have felt it since the first time that I saw him as a prospect, and that is what I hope we do in round 2. And then round 3, I don't know, Keontae Scott or something like that, okay? So, again, anyway, that is it for today's episode. Golly, it feels good to finally be back. Again, remember, I am going live as of the time this is going out tomorrow, about 10 minutes out from the draft. So if you want to come hang out, check out the stream, see my reactions to all of the picks, not just the Titans pick. You want to see me watch Fernando Mendoza get drafted, or maybe like a shocking thing happens on draft night with like a Raider unknown, if you will, like something along those lines, then I hope that you come by. Anyway, I have Instagram and Twitter under the Titans Rundown if you want to go check those out. And I also do stuff over Thunder Radio, and I do articles for Music City Miracles. Again, I've been a little off with those as well, but I promise you I'm trying to get back into the mojo of just doing Titans content creation in general, and I'm hoping that maybe I could get like a Titans, not mock draft, but like a Titans grading system for every draft pick, and I can go over those, all right? So anyway, that is going to do it all for me. This has been a rundown for the first time in a long time of your Tennessee Titans. I love y'all, and tighten up.